Hello and welcome to episode 1487 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Thursday, March 19th. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this afternoon by Justin Mason. Justin, good day, sir.
7 days, baby. 7 days away. That's it.
7 days from opening day, 2 days away from, or 3 days away from our big draft on Sunday.
Oh, I can't wait. That's going to be so much
Cannot
fun.
wait. I got Maine on Saturday, OC on Sunday. It's a huge weekend coming up.
Are those
The
your
weather,
last two?
Yep, putting a
Okay.
cap on it with those two and closing the book. I thought about something early next week. Nope. Capping it with that draft on Sunday is just too perfect with all of us in it like
I'm
that.
I'm so tempted to jump into one more, but I'm not going to. I don't think. I think
Show
I'm
the
just
restraint.
gonna,
I respect it.
I can't rationalize. Like I've gone this long without that. I feel like I have to just stick with it. Have my 6 leagues or 7 leagues or
It's a
whatever
nice
it is,
number.
and
It's a
yeah,
nice number right
and
there.
just chill and just
Yeah,
enjoy the season.
that's where I'm at this year. Like I said, got those two cappers, a 15 and a 12, and it's going to be an absolute blast. We're still talking pitchers here. We got one more episode where we kind of dig in on a bunch of guys very individually, and then tomorrow we're gonna have to rapid fire it a bit more. Now, rapid fire for us is different. We don't do anything quickly. We got to get our thoughts in, but we're gonna try to focus on the guys after, because this is going to take us to about SP 70. So 70 SPs is going to cover a lot of most leagues, right? The top end of most people's rotations and everything. From there, it gets wide open. You can start chasing the guys you like and all that. So we're really not going to hit on everybody from 71 on, obviously, but we're going to pick a bunch that we really like and maybe disagree on, where we can have some debates too. And that'll be for Friday. But today, these are still a bunch of good guys that are going to go in all leagues, even if they're later picks, obviously in shallower formats. And I just broke them up in lefties and righties. There's guys who are healthy and ready to go. There's guys who are a little bit nicked up. There's young, there's old. So the easiest way to break them was just lefty and righty. So let's start with the southpaws. We got Ron Hair Suárez. By the way, I learned this from Nick. It's Ron
Yeah,
Hair. Did you
yeah.
know that?
I didn't know it until this year.
Same.
You know, I've said this a few times. I need to who do we know at or not ESPN, MLB? We know Alex. I need to hit up some connections. MLB. I don't know if you saw what they did for the Olympics, but
Oh no, but I saw somebody mentioning that on the heels of what Nick did.
yeah, I think
But
it
go
was
ahead and
me.
say what they did. Okay,
So
so I must have just read your tweet
yeah,
then. Sorry.
yeah. So what they did was they had every single Olympian record their name twice, say it normally, and then say it very slow.
Love
So
that.
that in on video, so you could watch and listen to them do it. So that way you knew exactly. Now it became really funny because there are some really funny international names, but
Sure.
it would be really helpful if players could just say their own name and then we
Well,
could say it
do it with the
back.
pictures when they do the
Yeah.
headshots. Do that because yeah, I want to say somebody's name properly. I forget who it was. I think it was Kyle Brand. But pardon me if I'm wrong on that. But it was somebody on the NFL Network saying like, your name is important. Make sure people
Yeah.
say your name. It's in relation to Travis. What you may know as Etienne. You may have been saying it like that, but it's Achane. It's actually
Yeah.
the same pronunciation as Devin Achane, spelled vastly differently. And
It's Cajun,
exactly,
So
it's Cajun. And it's so easy for people whose name it isn't to say, who cares? I'll call you ATN. No, F you. It's this way. He's now closer to home. I think that's part of why he did it. He's like, I'm back in my general area, not quite in Louisiana, but he's with Texas now. And obviously that's going to have a lot of family there. And he wants his name said properly. And I'm always down. Like, when I have a mispronunciation, I got no problem with people
yeah,
correcting me.
absolutely.
I am still correct about Jordan Alvarez, though. Anyway, Ron Hair Suárez. Bibee Ref needs to get on this, by the way, because Nick went and found that one's not on Bibee Ref. They only have Suarez pronunciation. They don't have Ron Hair up there to help him out with his name. But he's moving over to Boston this year from Philly. It's probably just the proximity, but I always group these teams together in my mind, like an
Really?
NLAL version of each other. I
Okay.
think it's just being up in the Northeast that I don't know why, but my brain
And
is
they're
always
both
kind of.
red.
Yeah, the red and being in the Northeast, very, very basic, links there. But for some reason, my brain has always kind of connected them. So he's moving from like the NL version to the AL version. But it is a vastly different park. And I think it might actually fit with his strengths and weaknesses fine in terms of the fact that, he can let guys hit the ball off the monster as long as it's not going out of the park, right? Take
Yeah.
some singles, the occasional double, but he does not give up walks. And he can get a decent number of strikeouts. I think in any given Ronher Suárez season, which is usually about 150 innings, you're going to get one period of really good work for 10, 12 starts. You're going to get 4 or 5 duds, and then the rest of those are going to kind of decide where his season goes. But add it all up, in these last 4 years, Justin, he's had some excellent seasons. 3 of them have been downright excellent across the board, and then 2023 was one where the in between starts kind of went against him. So he had a 4.18 ERA and a 1.42 WHIP. But if you add up his last 4 years, it's 3.59, 1.29 on the ERA and WHIP for Ronher Suárez. What does he do his first year in Boston? Is he somebody that you are interested in this year?
He's not someone I'm like super interested in, but also not someone I'm running away from. I've been kind of ambivalent on Suárez so far this year. I mean, he is moving from a good team to another good team, but I think is a worse infield defense, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, a much worse infield defense, and I'll share the Savant page that I have loaded up so you can see just how bad of a difference it is. So the Phillies were the 5th best teams in outs above average in the infield, and the Red Sox were 26th last year.
So that's actually, I was talking more about the park being okay for the change. This suggests that maybe the team change is a little bit more severe for Suárez.
Yeah. So it's just something I have kind of taken a mental note on, that I'm not super stoked about the change. Now, he is going to be going to the American League, where batters won't have seen him as regularly, which is, typically a good thing for the start of the season.
Sure.
And, the Red Sox are going to be good, but there aren't the bottom feeders in the AL East that there are in the NL East. So I just feel like he's probably going to take a step back a little bit here. And that to me is enough to be like, I'm just going to go a different direction more often than not when Suárez's time is on the board.
That's kind of been where I've been with him. I just haven't been really getting him, not due to the fact that I have no interest, but I just end up going elsewhere when Suárez comes up.
It's not a bad ADP though. We're talking about 184 over the last week in the OCs. Like he's going around guys that all have major red flags in, like, Mackenzie Gore, Edward Cabrera, Blake Snell, Shane McClanahan. Like these are all guys with major red flags, and at least Suárez isn't health, right? Like a lot of those other guys. So I mean, I'm not opposed to taking the dive on Suárez this year, but I just haven't been finding myself pulling the trigger on him at all.
Would you have him in OCs?
184 over the last week.
Yeah, only 10 picks more expensive than that in the main. Fair price. Like if you like Suárez, he can be your guy and you're not going to get taxed. And that's the important part, right? Not necessarily mine or Justin's guy, but if you like him moving over to Boston, you can get that price, and that's not too bad. Let's move over to Kris Bubic, a guy that, I've really come to like in these past years as he's developed into something, but the injuries kind of keep interrupting, the full scale breakout for him. And I just wonder, is it going to be another year when we have to kind of have that looming overhead? He's back, he's pitching, he's ready to go, but, it was interrupted last year after just 20 starts, and we never really seen him push over 130 innings. I shouldn't say soft language there. We have not. It's been 130, 129, 116. Those are his 3 highest seasons. 116 was last year. Bubic was great, Justin, but we do have the concerns that we have year to year. Do you have those injury concerns coming in that are enough to keep you from drafting him?
I do have the injury concerns. Are they enough to keep me from drafting him? Not so much, because I feel like the price is
similar,
fairly
right around Suárez over here on the main, 183. So about 8 picks lower, 9 picks lower.
Yeah, I think if we were pretty confident that he was going to throw 140, 150 innings this year, he'd be going a ton higher. And
easily, yep.
He's healthy now. So, I don't know that I'm, overly concerned about where he's going in drafts. Looks good in spring so far. 29% strikeout rate. The walks are 8%, fine, whatever. But, this is a pretty underrated team. I agree. I do think that this is a a playoff caliber team in Kansas City. I don't know that they're going to make the playoffs because Detroit, I think, is clearly the leader in that division. And then there's just going to be so many AL East teams that are soaking up
could
the
be hard to
wild
get
cards.
a wild card.
Yeah, like it feels like one of those years where, like, if you're in the AL Central or AL West, like, you have to win the division because there are not going to be very many wild cards coming out of those divisions this year. So, but I do think this is a pretty good team. I'm not overly worried about, like, the moving in of the fences there. Bubic has never been a guy who's given up a ton of home runs anyways. If anything, maybe, the moving in the fences actually helps his BABIP, and, he, has a few less hits fall. But, like, he's been elite when he's been on the mound. He just hasn't been on the mound much, and I don't know if you can project him for more than, like, 125, 130. But I think
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think at this price, if you're getting them at the beginning of the season, you're okay with that and you move on.
That's exactly it. Thankfully, all the caveats and concerns about Bubic are fully baked into the price.
Yeah.
Like you said, if we could know that he was even going to get another $130, which he had a few years ago, he would be more expensive. This 180 is injury concern, and I would dare to say that maybe he's underrated a little bit in price.
I think so, yeah.
I would be okay paying a little bit more for him. So yeah, I really like Bubic at this price point. All your concerns that people might have, they're valid. They're covered in your price point. Let's go to Shane McClanahan, who, fell for him last year, man. I bit the early timeline. We preach, push the timeline. And I fell for it on two guys I like. I've talked about it all off season. Kirby, McClanahan.
Man,
two guys I like.
If only you had a friend who told you not to, right?
Two guys I like where I'm like, yeah, they're injured, but they're special. No, they're not, idiot. Everyone gets hurt and nobody's special when they get hurt. But we were, like, blatantly lied to by the Rays. I'm sorry. I'm going to call it a lie. I don't want to say, like,
was.
They missed it. Because that's such BS, dude. It's not so bad. And he missed the entire year. They were talking 2 weeks, Justin.
They were saying in spring training they wanted him to throw 150 to 160 innings that year. And
I mean, they may have wanted to. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he gets hurt, and they're like, it's a couple of weeks. It's bad. Even if I had added the timeline on, it still wouldn't have mattered.
I wanted to marry Tiffany Amber Thiessen when I was growing up too, but that never came to fruition.
I still do, man. She's still gorgeous.
Yeah, she is.
Probably married though, and so,
I don't know what to make of McClanahan this year.
Well, let me give you his price first, because this is another one where I think a lot of the concerns that you're going to have might be covered in the price depending on where you're at. I'm at it's pick 157. That's good enough for me because I still think this is an ace. And I do think that he'll have the chance to drop $150 this year. I don't see any reason that they're going to coddle him if he's healthy. Doesn't mean he's going to get there. This isn't me saying book that, but at $157 pick, I'm willing to take the shot on McClanahan. I am back in, believe it or not.
Here's my pushback to that. I don't think we know what McClanahan is at this point. Full year off, had the surgery, had setbacks after setback. I think that he is, quote unquote, entering the year healthy, but he's down almost 2 miles an hour in his velocity.
And how has that affected his results?
It hasn't affected his results
yet. At all.
2 miles an hour is a lot.
But I need to, like, it is. Right, but I need to see something for that to matter. We're so hung up on the velos and the numbers now, for good reason in a lot of cases. But just it being down without any negative results behind it, I don't know how much I need to care. Maybe I'm being foolish, perhaps. But I
don't know if you're necessarily being foolish, and I think you are right to the extent that, like, hey, a lot of the risk is covered in the price, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, this is not the same scenario as, like Spencer Strider or Shane McClanahan last year, where, like, you were, people were taking them in the 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, knowing that they weren't going to be able to return that type of value unless they were just studs. And we just had no idea. You are getting McClanahan much cheaper this year. I think it really depends on your build, though, right?
Sure.
Like, how safe is your rotation coming into that point? I have no problem taking that gamble, pick like 180 or wherever he's going. Is currently going to pick 187 in the OCs over the last week.
Love that. He's a little bit higher in the main at 157, but he has a range of 110 to 188. So depending on what room you're in, you might even get a crazy bargain on McClanahan, or you might see it be really expensive. 110, I would not pay.
110 is insane.
I would not pay that.
Really, for me, it would have to be after pick 150. You're talking a 10th round in a 15-team league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take him in the first 10 rounds. Like, I if I'm getting McClanahan, I want him to be like my SP4. I've got at least one Logan Webb-ish type player where I know I'm going to get volume as like my SP2 and then another ace. And then I'm like, okay, if my SP4 doesn't work out, does it suck? Yeah. But does it kill me? No. Like that, like, especially in a 12-teamer, like I could definitely see taking the plunge on a guy like McClanahan in ROC on Sunday, right?
Absolutely.
It's a 12-teamer.
It's even easier in those formats for sure.
Yeah, you're looking at him as like an SP5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like that makes a lot of sense. If you're pushing him up the board into the first 10 rounds in a 15 or the first 13, 14 rounds in a 12, then I start having some issues. I think you're just setting yourself up for failure. We have no idea what the workload is going to look like. And as much as you said, the Rays don't have any reason to baby him, the Rays always baby their pitchers.
No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't.
They do. They
Shane McClanahan has 166 innings. Drew Rasmussen, you can't do it with everyone. They don't. This is all about if they have the guys. He has
166 innings in 2022, but then what happened? And I'm not saying it was because
we threw 115 and then got hurt.
Yeah, but I'm saying like they may say, hey, listen, we have you under team control, until
that does not work.
I guess they only have them under team control till 2027.
Right. It's they got next year.
You're talking me into it.
Because what do we baby in 28-year-old Shane McClanahan for? If he's healthy, right? That's the big if, but that's what you're paying the discounted price for.
I mean,
he's to the moon for innings.
He looks, healthy enough.
Right.
Spring,
outside of the velo, which is the only
velo's
indicator.
the only concerning part, but we just don't know, like, hey, have they told him, hey, don't dial it up yet?
That's what I was wondering. Is he operating at a lower level on purpose, DeGrom style? Now, I don't know. I don't want to just be rosy because he's my guy. That could be an alarm. But again, I think all those concerns are covered in his price point, and that's what makes me okay with it. By the way, just as a general idea, do you know how many players you generally cut in a year in an OC or main?
Because I have done the research on this. It's 13 to 17. You are cutting every single year. So like
almost
when we
half
get
your roster.
Yeah, half your roster. And this is why I said like you get past round 15, especially like in an OC where like this is right around where you'd be drafting anyways. All those guys are cuttable. This is why like you may not cut them first week, but you should be able to, right? Like these like if you have a reason to, you should and some of these guys after round 15 are going to be valuable pieces of your roster, but
of course, but
for the
not
most
all
part,
of most people are going to burn.
You're going to drop a lot of these guys. And so, and these are on good teams, right? So I learned this by doing the Apologies Tour series, right? Where I track every single team. Timo, if he's operating at a lower level, Timu McClanahan is still pretty useful. That's actually a pretty
I agree with that too, right? Because if he's and
you're
upper
also,
threes.
You're also going back to the Trop, so like you're not in Steinbrenner. I'm talking myself into it right now for a 12. In a 15,
I'll take
still
it.
Not. In a
That's
15,
fine.
I'm not. But
you're not in any more 15s. Well, honestly, I shouldn't be talking you into guys in the 12 because you're going to be going against me in that. But no,
I'm trying
to
do is tell you not to do it in your main.
Right.
Do it, Like
I don't know that I'll listen to you, but we'll see.
I know you won't because you never do. But don't do it. I
wouldn't say never.
Rarely.
You have a lot of good takes. I have plenty of good things to listen to.
You should just let me sit in on your main and just yell at you.
I'll be streaming it. You can come in there and yell at me if you'd like.
Yeah, I think it's on my anniversary, so I don't think.
You should probably do anniversary stuff. I don't want you getting in trouble, and I don't want to be the cause of it because Danielle likes me, and I don't want to burn that.
Yeah.
Let's go over to Carlos Rodón. He is going to start the season on the IL, which takes him off of our boards in the NFBC universe because that's just not something that we do. Doesn't mean nobody does it, and if you can manage it, feel free. But you are looking at, a month. And again, this is one where we're looking at the timeline, which says to debut somewhere in April. And I think the prudent move is to tell yourself, can you live with mid-May? And if you can't, don't draft it. Right?
Well,
isn't that right with Rodón?
Yeah. I mean, so here's the thing. I remember a young fresh-faced Justin Mason sitting down at the main event table in 2019
in New York
and drafting Luis Severino and Carlos Martinez because they were only going to be out until May. And I was like,
it's not so long, man.
And if I can just survive till May, then all of a sudden I'm winning this league.
That's right.
Spoiler alert, I did not survive until May. And neither of them came back until like August.
Mm-hmm. And that draft fundamentally changed how Justin played fantasy baseball.
Yeah, and it did. It absolutely did. But this is why, unless you were in a league, like there are certain caveat leagues, right? Like Tout Wars is a really good example. Unlimited IL. Totally get it. Because I think that Rodón on a per inning basis is still kind of elite, right?
Totally agree with that.
So in a league where I can comfortably stash, and I'm not talking about your leagues with like 1 or 2 IL spots, because those will get filled, right?
Got to be 5+. Oh my God, Wisconsin lost to High Point. I didn't see that. I know you don't follow the tournament at all, but I'm catching up on.
No idea what that means.
I just know Wisconsin is generally good. They're 5, and it was a 12.
And High Point I've never heard of.
Right, and there's always a 12-5 upset, it seems. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. So with Rodón, you like him on a per inning basis. You will stash him if it's 5+ ILs, but nothing with it's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Because you're waiting too long. And again, it says sometime in April, don't take the rosy outlook. Tell yourself, can I hold him till mid-May? And if you can't really see yourself doing that, don't
and also
bother.
Just be ready to cut. Like if your roster gets in trouble, if there is a setback, just cut immediately. Don't be precious. Don't be one of these people that just holds on forever. Because
even if he ends up going on another team, popping off in June for somebody, that's the price of business.
We just saw the same thing on this same team with Garrett Cole, right? Where people were like, "Oh, I'm going to stash." I did it. I stashed him till May, and then he came back, was good, and got hurt. Like it was like I should never have stashed the dude. So just don't do it unless you have a certain type of league where it's conducive to do that kind of maneuver.
Let your league format decide that. All right. Sticking on his team, another lefty who is now a confirmed part of the rotation as of today, in fact, on this RotoWire news bit that I'm looking at. It's Ryan Weathers, Mr. 100. Now, look, I understand the inclination to feel like he's a ticking time bomb because of his previous injury issues and the fact that he is throwing 100. I don't think he's averaging it, but he's averaging 98.3. So he's hitting 100 a lot. But the results have been sparkling with it. In terms of a skills standpoint, 22% strikeout minus walk. He has allowed 1 million hits, and his actual surface numbers are actually bad for Ryan Weathers. 8.68 ERA, 182 whip. That's why we don't pay attention to those, though. I see 98 velo and 22% strikeout minus walk. I'm intrigued. I am nervous about the ever-present health concerns, though, Justin. Ryan Weathers, just 26 years old, has never pitched more than 94 2/3 in the majors. So I know that's going to breed some caution with you, but where would you consider him, if at all? He's going pick 212. Is that cheap enough? How do you come out on the new Yankee this year?
Well, he got the Aaron Boone vote of confidence because he got absolutely shellacked today.
Okay. So that's why
I think he got. I think he got the question hey, is he still in the rotation? Aaron Boone's, he's in the rotation. We don't, I think I would take him any place. I would take Shane McClanahan.
Okay,
he's healthy right now
and cheaper,
right?
Too.
And cheaper, and he's on the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Do I expect him to last the whole season? Absolutely not. If he gets 100 innings this year, I'll be surprised. But if I get 95 good innings at the beginning of the season, I'll cut him and move on. So in 10s and 12s, I'll make do with it. And in 15s, it's a hard pass for me.
Yeah, again, not quite a hard pass for me, but I do understand the vibe. And you hit on something that you really have to be comfortable with once you get to round 9 or 10. You said, if I get 95 innings, that's great. And then it obviously starts to go lower and lower as you get through. You're in the 15th round and you're thinking, if I get 47 good innings to start the year from somebody, that can be worth that pick. Stop thinking so long-term once you get into round 10. You don't have to be thinking about how somebody's going to be in August.
And once you get into round 17, 18, you can be I'll take 2 good weeks.
Exactly.
I'll take 3 starts and then I can
and then go from there. Yep.
If I get more on top of it, great. How many times have, people, with the Japan and the Korea series, starting early, just drafted a guy for a save or
you
a
did
win.
That. The Daniel Hudson gambit last year.
I have no problem doing that kind of thing. So when we start getting lower and lower in the ADP, we start caring a lot less about, hey, like, can this guy stay healthy for a full year? I don't care.
Not
All
my
these guys
problem.
are going to get dropped, right? So like,
Exactly.
I'm not worried about it.
Stop being so precious about picks after round 10.
My apprehension about drafting injury-prone, risky players is definitely about the first half of your draft. Like, as we start moving into the second half, I don't worry about it nearly as much.
Absolutely. Got to open it up more. And this next guy's another one. He stayed healthy last year. In fact, for the first time in a long time did Matthew Boyd put up a full season. And it's really, 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 really hard to see a repeat. I hope, because I've always been a Boyd boy, and I would love to see him drop another one. But he's 35 years old with an extensive injury track record. If I get 70 good innings, okay. I hope I get another $180, but I just doubt it, right? Again, 35 years old, has had issues, but pitched so well last year. And this is another one, and I've talked about this now the last few years, where the market has gotten so much better about not overvaluing these types. It really started with that big Seth Lugo season for me, where I was like, damn, market's gotten way sharper on guys like that. And Matthew Boyd, coming off that brilliant season, is only pick 195. Like, that's fine. 321 ERA, 109 whip, and 180 innings. 10 years ago, I guarantee you he's inside the top 120 picks. Like, there's just no way he wouldn't have been, even at age 35. Market is smarter now, and so a rebuy to me makes plenty of sense at pick 195. Do you feel the same way about Boyd?
So he's like my most drafted pitcher, one of them this year.
So
Like, he's on all of my teams. Like,
because he just stays out there and he's
cheap.
So appealing at that price point.
He also has the highest velocity of his career. Oh, no, sorry. Second highest velocity of his career right now. Like, he is dialed in and ready to go. He looks great in spring.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how many innings I'm going to get. I don't believe I'm going to get another 180 like we saw last year. But what if I do? Like, he just
Magic
did it
at that point.
And he's on the Cubs. Like, it's just a good team. I think the best team in the Central, right? So, like, if I do get a $150 or a $160 from Matthew Boyd at pick 200, like, that can be a league winner type guy for you. I honestly am shocked he's going as low as he is this year. I understand, like, he's old and there is like an age bias, but he's going after Carlos Rodón. He's going after Bubic. He's going after Shane McClanahan.
Yeah,
like,
I don't get that. He
should be leading off this tier, not being at the bottom of this tier, and honestly probably should be in the tier above. Like, I don't understand. Like, I know it's not as flashy as maybe some of the other guys, Shane McClanahan, if he's healthy and back to who he is, he's a top 20 starter.
If though, right? And
it's a massive if, but like, I'll say this. If Shane McClanahan was doing what Matthew Boyd is right now in spring training with a 16% swinging strike rate and his velocity right there where it was last year, Shane McClanahan would be going in the top 25 starting pitchers right now.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right on that. I just don't think
the fact that you're getting Matt Boyd outside the top 200, I just feel like is a gift.
And this is not a dig on the guy I'm going to bring up, because we just talked about him and I like him fine. I just don't think Matthew Boyd should be 20 picks cheaper than Ranger Suárez. They should be together, which I think Boyd should be up. Sorry. Jeez. Yeah. I think Ron Hare is fine where he is. Boyd should be with him. So it's not a dig on him. That's a promotion of Boyd on that one. All right, let's stick with our last lefty here in the lefty group. This guy has confounded fantasy folks for the last few years, and I count myself among them. I was discarding Andrew Abbott last year. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I really wasn't worried about him. Like, who cares? Like, what do you mean, what's he going to do? I don't know. Get blasted in Cincinnati? Wrong. I looked at the 11% strikeout minus walk, 1.6 homer 9, Justin, and that didn't come with a crazy homer fly ball. That's 12%. So I'm like, I just don't know if this guy has it. I know he had a 3.72 ERA in 2024. I thought that was completely fraudulent. Turns out I'm the fraud, because he was even better. He had a 2.87 in 2025. Now, the ERA indicators are also pretty skeptical about that, but he was really good, and he did get better. Andrew Abbott jumped from an 11% strikeout minus walk to 16%, went 166 innings, cut the homers. There was a lot to like. And again, the market is pricing him in a way that I don't find egregious at pick 213. So I don't think you have to overpay for something that I do think has a little bit of give back to it. So I don't mind him at his price either. I've converted on Andrew Abbott after a huge season. Where do you come out with him?
I still don't believe he's a good pitcher. Like, I just don't. I'm sorry. I've watched enough of Andrew Abbott. I look at the stats and I go, this is not a good pitcher. And obviously spring stats don't matter, but like all the regression is coming in spring. And if he's
really
good
is
in the season again, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like, I just
he's getting it all out now. He's gonna be awesome this year.
The regression's hitting, and now he can only go up from here because so far in spring, Andrew Abbott has a 13.85 ERA,
oh my god,
a 10% walk rate, and a 3.46 homer 9. Like, he's been truly atrocious in spring. Now the velocity's not down. His strikeouts are there. Strikeouts are even better than they were, in season last year. It's 25%. So, I don't know what to make of him, man. But I don't like rostering these guys that I don't think are very good pitchers and have just been lucky. And I think at some point the luck has to catch up to the dude. And I'm just not going to do it. I don't have a problem with the price. I'm not beating up anybody for drafting him. But there's just no way he ends up. I just don't like Andrew Abbott. Like, he has one pitch that has a stuff plus over 100. It's a slider, and he throws it the least amount of all 4 of his pitches. Like I don't understand how he does what he's done.
Nope.
But and for sometimes that works, right? Sometimes you go like, hey, I don't understand how he does it, but he does it, so I'm just gonna keep going. For me, I'm not. Like, the last time I bit on one of these guys, now obviously a much different pitcher, was Kyle Hendricks. And I bit on him the year he
busted.
He just busted. Like, I spent a decade shitting on Kyle Hendricks, and then all of a sudden, I was like, all right, fine, fuck it. Kyle Hendricks, top 25 pitcher. Oh, I'm wrong. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. And then, of course, that was the year, which is just a Justin Mason way of operating, right? So, this will be the year Brandon Pfaadt is just amazing.
Dude, that would be kind of funny. I'd feel bad for you, but it'd be kind of funny.
I mean, I don't know what I can do. At some point you have to just give up on a guy, and
absolutely,
he keeps Geraldo Perdomo last year, right? Like, I was like the biggest Perdomo guy forever, and then last year I was like, no.
Nah, I guess he's just not that good. Oh, superstar.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I'm like totally with you on Abbott. I wrote him up, and I was just like, hey, he did improve, but I still think there was a lot of quote unquote run hot, and it's a different way of saying luck because we call it luck for shorthand. It doesn't mean he was didn't do anything good or doesn't have talent. It's just when we say luck, we mean 2.87 ERA is just not where his skills were. His skills are closer to low 4s for me. I think if you want to be kind, you take kind of the 3-year average of his numbers, which is he's been in the league for 3 years. So you just take his averages. It's 342, 124. I'm not even sure he can get that though, Justin. That's my concern with Abbott is I think my projection would be closer to 420.
Yeah. I think he's a 420 pitcher. I think that's exactly what he is. And that is fine, this late in a deep league where you're like, okay, sure. You don't want a 420 ERA, but it's not killing you, right?
And it's in the range of outcomes for everyone around here.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
They're going this late because they could drop a 420 on you. Yeah. So we're just not going to be having Andrew Abbott on our teams, folks. If he's your cup of tea, that's fine. Let's go to the righties, and let's start with an old head who I've been a huge fan of throughout his career. But I am in that zone right now, Justin, with Luis Castillo of do I want to get off before the collapse comes, or do you just stick with the old reliable and just keep clocking your innings? 170 innings, 180 innings of mid-3s with a sub-1-2 whip. Can you keep doing it, or at age 33, are you starting to see some cracks in the armor that might have you scared about Luis Castillo this year?
I mean, there's definitely some cracks in the armor. We've just seen him become more and more hittable. I mean, here's the thing, though. Safeco's a really good place to pitch. And I think the floor on Luis Castillo is still a pretty good starter. He's just going to be a workhorse type dude. Not a star, but we had when we were at First Pitch Arizona, Nick Pollock was doing a panel on his top 50 or top 100 starters, whatever it was. And I was like, hey, Luis Castillo has never not been a top 50 starter. Why isn't he on your list? And he was like, I just think, blah, blah, blah. He's he's boring, but I was like, yeah, but man, boring pays, especially in deeper leagues. Now, I know Nick doesn't play very many deeper leagues, and he definitely doesn't write for deeper leagues. And so I understood why, and I was mostly trolling him, as friends do. But, in a 10 or a 12, I don't want Luis Castillo, right? Because I'm gonna just cycle the bottom end of my rotation anyways, and these boring guys who just accumulate aren't really that valuable when I'm looking for the next best thing. And so I'll go for the Bubiches, I'll go for the McClanahans, I'll go for those guys who, like, hey, if they hit, they could be top 25 guys, the Ryan Weathers, right? But in a 15-team league, a deep league where, like, you need volume to win, Luis Castillo just does that. He just gives you volume. It's on a good team. It's in a good park. Yeah, he's not going to be the guy who strikes people out at a 27% clip like he used to, but, like, 22, 23% strikeout rate with a, good whip and a good ERA and some win potential being in Seattle. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with Luis Castillo.
I don't either. And, it is a format fit for sure, but he was a draft champions god, I think. I really liked him in that format where you're just trying to clock those innings. And I think maybe there's still some points value, which is another area where volume can just pay, just kind of clocking those points every fifth day. And like you said, good team. So if they can spike a few extra wins for him, he could even push the ERA up to, say, like 380, 390. And if he can get 14, 15 wins instead of 11 in terms of a points league, then that could counter it too. So I really don't mind him. I always have a soft spot for him. I'm not chasing Luis Castillo, but I'm also not running from him.
He's the sleeper in the bus guy from back in the Eno.
Oh, days. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely long time sleeper in the bus guy. All right, next up is Tanner Bibee for Cleveland, and I wonder if he's like a little bit underrated right now.
Very.
Thank you. Okay, I'm happy to hear you say that because, I feel like he kind of gets dusted over. Oh, he was good for a little bit, and he's failed us these last couple of years. I don't know that that's the right story. I understand where the surface numbers were last year: 4.24 ERA, 1.24 WHIP, or 1.23 WHIP. Not amazing, but as somebody who randomly ends up watching a lot of Cleveland games because I love Tom Hamilton, he's the radio guy, but I watched the video with his sound on it. I ended up watching a ton of Bibee starts last year, and I really thought that he evolved as the season went. And I thought he got better and really showed a bit more of that early career Bibee that we had seen. Again, didn't show up in a ton of sparkling numbers except for September, where he did close very strong, 130 ERA, 0.77 WHIP. But I think it was showing even in August when his numbers were actually wretched. I thought I was seeing that he was pitching better, and I'm glad that he was able to get rewarded with that in the big September finish. But again, it's done nothing for his price in the market. I feel like he's kind of forgotten. Pick 172 isn't free. In fact, he's more expensive than Ronher, even the gentleman that we started with, Suárez. But I still think that that's a bit underpriced for what Bibee has done. He's put up 3 full seasons now. Well, 2 full ones and then 25 starts in 2023. But that was only because he didn't start the year with the team. And just been a solid workhorse. I still think there's upside to get back to the 23-24 levels. And as such, I'm interested in him where he goes. Tanner Bibee, what say you, good sir?
I just want to see him pitch backwards a little bit more. I mean, it's a bad fastball. Let's just be honest. But all of the secondaries are 100 stuff plus or better, and there's good command and control there. Along with it, it's a good pitching organization, and I think they are starting to figure things out. We did see last year where, like, hey, he dropped that fastball usage and really relied on the secondary stuff a lot more. I want to see that again, and I do think that we're going to see. We're not going to see a September Bibee, right? Like he's not going to turn
for the whole year. No,
he's not going to turn into an ace for the whole year. But I do think he is a very serviceable guy who throws innings, and I love volume, right? 173 and 2/3 in 2024, 182 and 1/3 last year. He's going to be the horse of this rotation. And as much as Cleveland faltered down the stretch last year, I still think this is a really good team that's going to offer win potential. And in spite of the fact, I think most people would be like, well, he probably really struggled at home because of that wind tunnel. He actually didn't. He was much better at home than he was on the road. I think he just went through kind of a bad patch in the summer that kind of, crushed his overall line. And I think he's going to be much better this year. And so far, like, he has not he's not allowed a walk in spring in 18 and a third. The strikeout rate isn't great, but he's a 21% strikeout guy. He's going to be really, really good. And just a solid glue guy in the middle of your rotation.
With a bit of upside too, right?
Yeah.
These guys that have 3 years in and don't have the green arrows up from their stats, because their strikeouts jumped up 3 years in a row and their swing strike. we think that they don't have upside. He absolutely does. And the upside would be, like I said, just getting back to 24, let alone 23 when he had a sub 3 ERA. But I would take a 347.
I mean, the upside is like being like a 340 ERA guy in 180 innings.
Yes.
Like
and
that
we'll take
volume
that all day.
You know, even with a 21% strikeout rate, like you will volume a lot of strikeouts that guys like Bubic and Ryan Weathers won't get to because they're hurt, right? Because they're only going to throw 90 or 100 innings, right? Like
he had 162 last year, strikeouts for Bibee. Like that's not a terrible number there for a 21% K rate guy. That is the 31st most. Which like, so to put that into context then with Bibee, his like 21% strikeout rate, not great. We don't love that.
No.
But almost top 30 strikeout total, I'll take that.
Yeah, and when you're talking about a guy who doesn't walk guys, who like keeps the ball in the yard, like I think he is really underrated. I've always loved Bibee. I was a big Bibee guy when he came up. I continue to be.
Happy to hear that that there's somebody else on the Bibee train. You know, this next guy here, I've had my disinterest in him. In fact, at Nicholas Pollock's wedding, news came of this trade, and we did a little impromptu, you know, let's all talk about Shane Baz. And I said he's still going to suck. You know, I had to say something provocative there. I don't think he sucks at all. I understand why people like him, but I feel like, you know, one of our favorite analogies is Charlie Brown kicking the football from Lucy and she keeps moving it. That's been Shane Baz so far. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. He is leaving St. Pete's in Steinbrenner Field, but for Baltimore, which, hey, that's not so bad anymore. They did move the fence in, but it's still better overall than old Camden used to be. The core skills are there, and despite my many-year campaign of not being terribly interested in Shane Baz, I've actually wound up with a few shares because he keeps kind of landing in my lap. And when I say a few, I have him 4 times. I got him in TGFBI, Earth, and 2 of my best balls, which, by the way, I think he's excellent in best balls because I don't get any of Shane Baz's crap. So he's very easy to take there. But I did take him in 2 standard leagues, Earth and TGFBI. So I'm a convert on Shane Baz here. I'm excited to see what he can do. I think I'm just buying the raw talent, Justin, and seeing where it takes him because I've been a little bit skeptical on him. Where do you come out with Baz going to Baltimore this year?
I'm interested to see what they do with him because so far in spring he is striking out the world, right? Now he's also walking the world, which is
sure.
So,
but he could be working on something that is fostering both of those, right? Nasty stuff. So
he's getting a lot of swings outside of the zone, but he's going outside of the zone a hell of a lot right now. I'm interested to see how this translates in Baltimore. I'm a big Baz guy. I always have been. I knew this stuff was better than what it showed kind of the last couple years, especially because they babied him. They really, really babied him a lot in Tampa Bay. Obviously, Baltimore doesn't have that luxury, and they're going to push the guy.
And he had 166 last year, too, so there's no need.
Yeah,
it's time for Baz to be a dude.
Yeah, and I think he can be. I think he absolutely can be. I'm a big fan. This is definitely a huge target for me. I have not gotten him enough so far in drafts. Actually, I don't even know if I've gotten him at all. So,
while you're looking that up for your Baz shares, I will point out you hit on something that I really like. He made his first 31 turns last year.
Yeah.
When a guy shows they can do that, I don't even care about the results because they were medium last year. Like the underlying skills were good, but it was a 4.87 ERA and a 1.33 WHIP. But just being able to make it through the 6-month grind is so huge. Another guy that we'll probably get to tomorrow, but I just want to throw it out. Matthew Liberatore did that last year. He made his full turn, and now look at the breakout he's having in spring. There's just something about finally taking the 6 months and getting through the grind. I think Baz, like I said, I'm a convert on him. This is my Nick Pivetta this year where I'm a late in draft season convert, and all of a sudden I got 4 shares of him, and I'm in, baby. Let's go with Shane Baz.
I also want to point out, like, he was really terrible at home last year, right? And
yes,
and like
he
you said,
clearly got eaten by the park.
Yeah, 5.90 ERA, and he was a 3.86 road ERA guy, right? Like, and I think, you know, now moving not just away from St. Pete, but just Tampa Bay altogether, moving away from Steinbrenner Field. Steinbrenner Field is in Tampa, and Tropicana is in St. Pete.
Oh, yeah, I said St. Pete's. I meant, yeah. It's Steinbrenner Field.
Someone corrected me on that.
Right.
Earlier.
The Trop is actually in St. Pete's. Yes. My fault.
It's all the same thing. I mean,
no. We will respect it.
I will not.
We will respect Florida's geography. That's it. It stops at the geography.
Oh, sorry.
So he's. I was just saying the whole Florida man meme. We don't have to respect all the freaks that live there, just their geography. Just teasing you, Florida. But yeah, so he gets out of Tampa Bay there. That Steinbrenner Field ate up Shane Boz's lunch. He goes to Baltimore, which, like I said, is not the homer haven it used to be. So I don't even think that he's cooked there.
No, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a fantastic spot for him, and I'm really excited.
Sunday's going to be a battle then. I don't know if Joe likes him, but
yeah, he's definitely going to be a guy we battle over for
I think two of us are going to be interested. All right, I've grown a little tepid here on our boy Joe Musgrove. Longtime fan, always rooting for him, and I really hope he comes back strong. But after some initial excitement that, hey, maybe he's going to come back early, this is another check mark in the don't trust timelines, don't trust the aggressiveness of the player and the cheeriness that they think they're going to do. He's going to start the season on the IL, which is what we originally thought. But like I said, there was that moment there where people kind of turned like, oh, maybe not. He now hasn't pitched since like March 4th. They're taking their time. He's going to start on the IL. Let's get out of NFBC mode with Joe Musgrove. What, if anything, would you do with him in an IL league? Would you take the shot? Do you like the gamble, or is it all 2027 for Joe Musgrove?
No, it's 2027. I just don't do guys in their first year back. Like
even with the extended time off.
Don't care.
That's fair. Like I do care, good, but I'm also not drafting him.
I hope he's good. I'm going to enjoy watching him pitch. Maybe I'll use him in DFS if he does look good, especially because I think he'll be cheap early on once he returns.
Totally agree with that.
But for season long, no. I mean, we just saw it with Yuri, right? Like we saw it with Sandy Alcantara. We saw it with Robbie Ray when he came back from surgery. Like these guys are not consistent, and
Alcantara was a perfect one too.
Right, and the hard part is there are going to be starts where I think Robbie Ray is a great example of this, right? When Robbie Ray came back from Tommy John, his first start, he was phenomenal. I think he threw 5 perfect innings or something like that, or maybe just 5 no-hit innings. And then the next 3 starts, he got absolutely shellacked. But you may not have started him for those 5 perfect innings and then 8 the rest. I just don't want those. I don't want these kind of guys coming off Tommy John because you never know what the command and control are going to look like start to start. 2027 I'll be in, but for 2026 I'm out.
Yep, I'm just taking the pass. I will watch from afar. I will root for him. Like I said, I'm a big Joe Musgrove guy. I want him to kick butt, but just not going to be on any teams. So feel free to take him on Saturday and Sunday, folks. If you're drafting against me, you will get no pushback. This is the guy I'm starting to turn around on a little bit to the positive. I've been basically ignoring Aaron Nola on my draft board for most of draft season, and I'm thinking that maybe I'm in the wrong letting him go that late. I think this is all about a price point situation. Pick 185 in the last 6 main events, way down here now. I see the reasons for concern, right? Terrible season last year, and he's an absolute home run machine. Those are my concerns. And I don't really see the daylight on the home runs. This is more just like a bet on the long-term track record though, and saying I'm near pick 200. Let me bet on a guy who's on a great team who still has excellent core skills, because even with the 6.01 ERA for Nola last year, Justin, 17% strikeout minus walk. Are you barking up that tree, or is the 1.7 homer 9 scary enough to push you off? And by the way, I'll add 1.5 homer 9 for the last 3 years combined.
Hasn't allowed a walk or a home run yet in spring. Only 2 innings, I know. But
but also dealt in WBC for Italy. Yeah. His start was excellent.
I'm in on the price.
Same.
This is a horse, right? This is like Matthew Boyd-esque, right? Where you're getting a guy way too late that could throw you a crap ton of innings. Who knows what kind of innings they're going to be? But this is also a guy if it doesn't work out, you drop and you move on really, really fast. And I think with last year, people will be more comfortable doing that. I think before, people probably held on to Nola way too long last year because of the name value and he'll turn it around, and he never did. I think this year, if it goes south again, people will be ready to jump. I got Nola for $4 in my Tout Wars auction. Yes. Felt great about it. I just think he is super undervalued this year. And like I said, he's an easy cut if he's not right. Now the velocity isn't where I'd like it to be, but it's just right about where it was last season, which is a little bit down for kind of his career, but he'll build up on that too. And so far, pretty good swing strike rate. Like I said, has been dealing in spring. I don't see any reasons why not to take a gamble on Aaron Nola. Yeah,
I just think it's a fair price to take the shot to see if he can get back to where he's been. And again, even last year, if you look at the area indicators, there's some positive ones in there because his core skills were so good. He has to curb the homers, but it's a bet I'm willing to take at that price point. Jack Flaherty is somebody I'm definitely willing to take at his price point because it feels like a free, let's not go too hard on free, but like a very discounted 180 strikeouts in the bank, right? And I might even be underselling it. He's been over that number each of the last 2 years at 194 and 188 respectively. Obviously he has to stay healthy, but he just feels like an easy strikeout pickup late on a good team who still has upside to maybe get back to 2024 levels. Where do you come out on Flaherty now, third year with Detroit?
I don't know. I just don't trust him.
He's very volatile, so I understand the concerns.
I mean, I probably shouldn't be saying like I'm in on like Aaron Nola and I'm out on Jack Flaherty, but
they go right by each other, by the way,
they're
literally back to back.
Kind of the same guy, right? Like, like you just don't know what you're going to get start to start because the homers are an issue. But this better strikeout upside is probably Jack Flaherty, so I probably should go with it. But I don't know if it's just trauma or what that I've bought back into him too many times and been burned enough where like I just don't want to do it again. But I don't want to do it again. There's nothing wrong with the pick, and I'm not going to beat up anybody who will, but I just for some reason just can't.
We have our preferences. No, I get it, right? Like there's you look at the profile, you understand why people draft him, but it's just not for you. And
I'm looking at his underlying numbers in spring right now. How many innings is it? It's only 8. What do you think his first pitch strike rate is right now? For context, it was 64.2% last season.
I'm gonna say something stupid like 38% since you're
34%.
Oh my god!
I don't know.
I'm gonna lie to myself and say that he's working on a new pitch. I like Flaherty. I want him to do well, but the thing of it is, and you kind of called it out. I understand why he's just not your cup of tea, but if I'm going to tell you guys that I could go for Nola, I can go for Flaherty, right? They are two teams in a pod there.
They really are. Like, I don't, like I said, I don't have an issue. I'm just going to go the Nola route more often.
That's fine. And throw in this next guy. Let's just bring in Zac Gallen right here, too, because I think it's the same sort of flavor of a guy who's been great, but who had major struggles recently. And we have a very, very open question about if he can get back to it. He's going back to the team that raised him with Arizona. Well, actually not raised him because I think he started in the St. Louis and then to Miami. Yeah. St. Louis, Miami, Arizona. But anyway, Gallen is back with Arizona. So even though he signed late, I'm not as worried about that because it's with the same team. I don't know how you feel about that. But again, do you want to bet on the lengthy track record versus the 1 year? If he's your cup of tea at this juncture here, because it goes for these last 6 main events, it goes Flaherty, Nola, Boyd, Gallen. And so
it should kind of be flipped, right? I mean, Boyd should definitely be going at the top of that.
I would go Boyd, Flaherty, Nola, Gallen, I think.
I'm going to say this. Gallen has got the highest velocity of his career right now in spring.
Ooh. Does that intrigue you enough to
it does, because what we've seen from Gallen specifically is early on in his career, his stuff plus, especially on the fastball specifically, was elite, right? 2020, 118, 2021, 108, 2022, 112. And then the last 3 seasons, it's just gone down, right? 100 in 2023, 95 in 2024, 98. And that coincides with a velocity drop, like not a massive one, but just a gradual decline over the course of the last few years. Now he's at 94.7.
That's a big jump.
Like his highest one was 94.1 in 2022. He's full mile per hour over where he was last season. And that's interesting to me because there isn't much of a price attached. Like if he's bad, again, this is an easy cut.
Exactly.
But what Gallen has been able to do in spite of his struggles is throw volume. Throw 192 last year, 148 in 2024, 210 in 2023. Like there's a ton of volume to this. And if he's back to being, he doesn't even have to be back to being like the guy he was in 2022. But if he's just back to being like, let's say 2023 or 2024 Zac Gallen with that volume, like that's a top 30 pitcher, top 35 pitcher that you're getting outside of the top 70,
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, exactly. And again, he's in this grouping here of bounce back guys that if he's your flavor,
I
I'm with
also,
it.
one of the things, I love that Nick talks about is like, I want easy cuts. I want guys like that I can make a quick decision on. And I think Gallen is a guy like you're going to know if he's back or not.
Right. And you're not going to wait around like we did last year.
Yeah.
He's another one that people probably held on way too long because he has the lengthy track record, and I get it. But if you ate a lot of those innings last year, it went poorly. 4.83 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. But yeah, I am back in this year at this price. I'll take one of that quartet that I gave you, that Boyd, Flaherty, Nola, Gallen quartet. I'll take one of them in damn near every draft. Like I don't have one in every draft. I'm saying like that is the kind of pitcher
I'm usually taking Boyd, but if for some reason I get sniped on Boyd, I will go to Nola or I'll go to Gallen for sure.
Yeah, totally with that. All right, let's go to Jack Leiter here to finish it off. I moved Senga and Sasaki to tomorrow because not to be gross, but I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm being gross. I'm sorry, but I got enough time here for Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter, I'm not all the way there, and if you are, maybe you can sell me, or we'll be skeptical together. But again, I want to give credit for what I just said about who did I say it about? Boz. He didn't take the 30 turns, but he took 29 last year. He made it through the grind. And like I said with Boz, it's like I almost don't even care what the results were. In the case of Leiter, they were fine. 3.86 ERA, 1.28 WHIP. That's all right. He survived. I give a lot of credit for that. I haven't been in on him as like a huge growth profile, but I don't run from him here. He's a little bit further away from our guys that we've been talking about here at 230, so he's even cheaper. So I'm okay with it. I just haven't landed on any Jack Leiter. Is he somebody you see as a big growth profile for Texas?
So the whole reason why I won't draft Flaherty is because I can get Leiter. Because I think they're the same guy without the injury track.
Just because they have the same first name.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Honestly. No, I think they both have really, really good stuff. They struggle with command and control, but especially the command portion of things. But Leiter is younger. He's and like he doesn't have that bad health track record that Flaherty does. So
right.
I mean, do I see like a full breakout coming for Leiter? No, probably not. I think he's gonna be very similar to what he was last year. But what he was last year was actually pretty darn good, especially considering where you got him. If you get like a 1.25 WHIP and a 3.80 ERA and a boatload of strikeouts from a guy who's going to be in a good park and a team that should be fairly competitive, I'll take that where he goes. So yeah,
not only that, but with his price point, you're probably not getting every Jack Leiter start, so you can maybe even skip some of the scarier ones, and you could curate the ratios down a little bit even. Because where you're drafting him, you don't have to just blindly start him. I know he's giving up some spring homers, but are you moved by the fact that his skills are looking sharper, including a 6% walk rate for Jack Leiter in spring?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little moved. I think it's a little bit fraudulent because zone percentage is down a fair amount.
Okay.
So, like, I think that may be more about, like, hitters not being as patient with him. So, like, I'm not expecting him to have a 6% walk rate. I think
that's
he'll probably be closer to like 8, 9, 10% walk rate. So like he's a guy that
would be a little improvement though. If I can get 8,
I'll take 8. Yeah. I think
I'll take 8 after 10 last year.
But I do think like the control is always going to be kind of an issue for him.
Agreed.
I just think his stuff is so volatile, but it's so good. Like, I mean, 107 stuff plus last year is just scratching the surface
that's
on
filthy.
How this is why I thought like when he came into the league, like, oh, this is a closer, right? This is a guy who
I thought
going
so
to be
too.
a nasty closer. But I'm glad they stuck with him as a starter, and I'm excited to see what he does. And that park does help, right? That is a really good park to pitch.
Absolutely. So yeah, Jack Leiter,
I'm a fan.
not too bad. 230 is a really fair price point too. So if you do have him for a breakout and he's one of your guys, I totally get it. All right, so what I'm going to do, and I moved, like I said, Senga and Sasaki to that. I'm just going to put like 3 to 4 pitcher groups of all these little themes, and we're just going to go through it that way. Like, your favorite twin between Mick Abel, Taj Bradley, Simeon Woods, Richardson, right? Like shit like that. Your favorite injury guy between Manaea, Ober because of his hip last year, and I don't know, Bryce Miller. Like that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So it'll be these little pockets of 3 to 5 starters. We'll still end up going like 7 hours.
Yeah.
But they'll be managed into their little groupings, and it'll be easier to kind of pick and choose. So I'll get those groupings together for us tomorrow. Are we going to go in the morning and try to make Joe wake up, or does he just not realize that we're going to be going way too early for him?
I mean, I could go in the afternoon. I'm actually going to be working from home tomorrow. So.
I could too. So if we all want to do afternoon, then we could have a 3-pack. But
then I don't have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning for 5:30. So
same. I mean, I don't wake up 2 hours later, but yes, I could sleep in a little bit because I plan to be up late tonight working on draft boards and everything. Okay. So it'll be the 3 of us tomorrow. We'll finish off pitching, get you guys all set up for your big weekend here. It's draft weekend. We're all amped for our final ones. And again, Justin and I will both be streaming on the weekend. On Saturday, I'll have my main event on my Twitch channel at Sporer. And then Justin will be streaming our OC. I might too. I kind of like the idea of us each having a war room there. But I might just be in your chat. We'll see how I feel on Sunday.
No. You have to be with us.
Are we all just going to be together?
Yeah, we're all going to be together so we can yell at each other. Yeah.
Then we'll all just be together. So we'll be on Justin's YouTube on Sunday, and I'll be on my Twitch on Saturday. So look for us there. Have a good one. We'll be back tomorrow. Peace.
Take it easy.